Right, don't you think, Kirblog? I hope you like this one. Toot 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 toot, yeah. Bow wow, da-na-na, da-na-na, ba-dum, bow, bow, da-na-na, da. And now you will never be able to unhear that shit. Welcome. We're in the last week of Anime April. Hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. I'm recording this one ahead of time. This will be going up right after I get back from PAX East. So I hope I saw some of you there while I was away for the weekend. But in the meantime, this one is coming from Hero Ace on Tumblr. Hey Kirb, love your work. Have you ever thought about doing a Kirblog on the anime Fooly Cooly, or FLCL? It has to be one of my most favorite anime series, and it really resonated with me as a person with its hidden meanings. What are your thoughts? So I was a little hesitant to talk about this one because I didn't know if I would have too much to say on it, but I thought, you know what, this will be a little bit of a shorter one, but I still have enough definitely to fill up, a full topic on it. Because actually, looking back on it, and I think part of the reason why I was hesitant is because I also did talk a little bit about this show a while back now. I can't remember how long ago, but it was when I did a Kirblog just generally about watching anime and stuff in general on Adult Swim for the first time. I'll probably have an annotation to that somewhere in case you haven't heard that one. But yeah, Fooly Cooly was, I think, amongst the very first, more mature, I suppose you could say, anime series that I saw back in the early 2000s. My first time seeing it, and I believe I have told the story in pieces numerous times on other Kirblogs, but Mike Lucas and I were on vacation. This was when he was kind of back in the middle of moving back to New York again after being away for a while. This was kind of the dawn of the whole TV Tome Adventures era of my life, more or less. This would have been like 2003, I think, or so. But we were away at a beach house in New Jersey with my family for a little bit. And we were staying up that late that week, all 5 days a week, and watching whatever happened to be on Adult Swim, which I think I had mentioned in that Adult Swim Kirblog. That was my first time seeing stuff like Family Guy and Futurama as well, which was just as much of a big deal as it was seeing some more mature anime stuff. But Fooly Cooly, which I remember seeing commercials for it early on, and immediately being captivated by the look of it. I regrettably can't remember the name of the character designer, but the same person who did the character designs on Evangelion and Dot Hack as well. Was incredibly talented, and their artwork, kind of very much shined through the animation. Maybe even more so than any other series that they've ever worked on. I feel like Fooly Cooly really kind of captured the animation side of Fooly Cooly really captured the character designs and brought them out of their fullest, and they were so rangeful and ridiculous, and just those little snippets of animation that I saw on the commercials first promoting it got me intrigued, and I was like, okay. And if I'm remembering correctly, I believe the first episodes that I saw, because I did see them all out of order, were 3 and 4 back to back. So the one with Nina Mori, Naota's classmate, kind of having her issues at home. And the baseball episode, which led to also, I'm just gonna blow off spoilers, but the rather risque animation and scenes between Haruko and Naota's dad, which I was like, okay, what is going on here? And this is off the heels, I think, of keeping up with Inuyasha for a fair bit, and seeing that on Saturdays, and as I mentioned in the first one of these for Anime April, where my 14-year-old mindset was like, whoa, naked girls in this show. Okay, here I go. Not that Fooly Cooly was like such a fan servicey series or anything at all. But it was just, it was definitely like, whoa, okay, is it okay for us to be watching this? And then believe we saw 5 and 6 after that, and then I didn't see the first and second episodes, I think, until long after that, and I had gotten back and just happened to be up late that night to be able to see them. Because there was a time where Adult Swim was just airing them every single week, Monday through Friday at 12. Just those 6 episodes running over and over and over again, and I would just happen to catch whichever ones were on. And what's kind of cool about the show is that because of just how short it is and how kind of self-contained each of the 6 episodes are, really, you really kind of can just jump in at any point and just enjoy the fucking, psychosis for what it is, I guess you could say. I remember it really was making a big splash with everybody I knew. Everyone was like, what is the deal with the show? I really liked it. I just don't understand it. I don't fully grasp what the fuck happened, but it's cool and I like it. I think I shrug. It was interesting. But yeah, shortly after it kind of made that first initial impact on everybody, I wish I could remember the specifics of how I was hearing like a lot of the, I guess, more cerebral interpretations of what the story was supposed to be about and what the thematics were and everything. I can't exactly remember where that was kind of coming from in terms of me hearing about it, but I remember my attitude used to be kind of like, oh, whatever, like this show isn't deep. It's just like it's a bunch of like really entertaining nonsense or whatever. And I actually don't know if this is true 100% because I often say this, but the story I heard was that Gainax basically made a shit ton of money. They had enough to basically spend on doing 6 episodes of animating whatever the fuck they wanted. And, they went absolutely, nutso with it and just got super fucking creative and ridiculous. The one kind of feedback I heard about, I guess the criticism of it is the director talking about how comprehension is not necessary for this show. Which to me that implies like you don't have to be thinking too hard about it. There's not supposed to be some kind of deep, meaning behind the whole thing. It's not that the story isn't good. It's a very simple like coming of age. This kid is, Naota has got major issues, and Haruko is, the one who's basically getting him to grow up in a way that is a little bit more, I guess in a more of a positive way, as opposed to just his perception of what adult life is and why that sucks to him so much. Actually, because interestingly enough, when I was working on the Gundam Origin movie within this last month, I was talking with Stephanie Shea, who is our producer, director, engineer, writer, etc. on the project, and this was shortly after we had just heard about which is old news by now, but the fact that Fully Cooley is getting a 2nd and 3rd season happening. And we were talking about the show, and I completely forgotten that Stephanie basically produced the dub for Fully Cooley. It was like the 2nd show she ever worked on. That was along with Mark Handler, who's a great writer and director for lots of classic anime series. Worked on a lot of awesome shows like Cowboy Bebop and stuff. But yeah, we were talking about that, and also she played Mamimi. And we were talking about that show, and how she was actually pretty optimistic about what the 2nd and 3rd season is going to be because of how it kind of connected together with the first 6 episodes. And I actually kind of agree with her point because it made sense to me. She gave me a perspective I never really thought about, where Fully Cooley, she kind of said this is like her elevator pitch to people, or like her one sentence pitch to people who don't know about the show and she wants to get them to watch it. Is it's basically like a sci-fi space version of Mary Poppins, because I realized Haruko is very much a Mary Poppins type character in that kind of way. It was it occurred to me all of a sudden, it's so easy to focus on like, oh, she's all like cool and badass and like wacky and ridiculous and very entertaining in that kind of way, which she is. But in what it is that she's doing for Naota's growth, whether or not she's, that good or bad of an influence or whatever, I suppose is up to your own personal interpretation too. But I think in the long run, the fact that he walks away from those 6 episodes, that amount of time that she's, living, in his life more or less, and then kind of how he looks to the future, it kind of makes sense. And then seeing the correlation makes sense, that is. And then seeing that the concept of the 2nd and 3rd season is going to be with a different character, at the forefront. And I'm sure Naota and all them will still be in the show in some way, but the fact that Haruko will be feasibly helping another kid, makes it interesting in terms of okay, there's more to do with this. Because for me personally, I don't care so much about this space stuff with Conti and the Federation or whatever the hell was going on. I mean, not that wasn't intriguing, but that to me that wasn't what was interesting about the show. I think the more philosophical and character development kind of stuff was more interesting than the plot, the lore stuff in this particular series. That was much more interesting to me, and I feel like if they did put emphasis on that stuff, it would I feel like it would be kind of shallow. But I'm interested to see kind of where they're going to go. I don't know how much of the same original team is working on this new version or whatever. But I certainly hope as many of them as possible will get to come back and do that. I know a lot of them have I think moved on to Studio Trigger by this point. I'm not really sure the details of that, but I'm definitely open to it, and I am curious, and I am definitely going to watch it because I did really enjoy the first 6 episodes. But yeah, and much like how I've kind of my tastes and my perspectives have changed, over the years, and especially since the last 10 years or so, or really now 13, my God, years since it first aired in the U.S. I think that it is still perfectly valid to be able to interpret something, deep about the show, even though it may very not intended to be that way. It, maybe it really was just like meant to be the animators just having a good time and fucking around and doing whatever they wanted to do for 6 episodes worth of material or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with just purely enjoying it for that reason too. I would actually be curious now that I'm saying this, because it has been a really long time since I've seen it. I've definitely seen all 6 episodes at least twice each, maybe 3 times in certain cases, depending on whatever happened to me on. I would kind of be curious to go back and rewatch it again now, just to like see it, maybe with my 27-year-old brain, knowing what I can take away from it, because I feel like it was really kind of just along for the ride and just like enjoying it for what it was, and the striking visuals and the gags and the funny performances and everything like that. I will say also, to put on record, I sincerely hope that the new Fooly Cooley is done union, because they need to get Kari Wahlgren, and really everybody, but especially Kari Wahlgren, back to play that character, because that is just, for her first role, my God, what a splash she made in that shit. That was incredible. What a great performance on that character. But yeah, no, I'm curious to look back on it now again. I'm curious as to what's going to happen with the actually, what I'll probably do is that when we get closer to the new episodes coming out, I will probably go back and rewatch the entire series again. In terms of, I guess, because the format I've kind of been doing with these, like, favorite moments and characters and memories and things like that. In terms of favorite characters, I mean, obviously everybody loves Haruko. Like, what don't you love? Kanti, I thought, had a really cool design, and he was kind of interesting in how he was executed with no dialogue, and he was all just like, mime, or not mime, but like, just all entirely body language with, kind of what his deal was, and, very simple character, but very cute and endearing, and I like his kind of the TV face design a lot, was really cute. Naota made for an interesting protagonist as well. Maybe I didn't quite connect with him at first. I feel like definitely now, if I watch the series again, I would like him a lot more. Mamimi, I think, was the funniest character. Haruko was hilarious too, but Mamimi was, she was such a fucking weirdo and so adorably so. I don't know. She was funny and definitely very fucked up as well. She was very strange kind of character, but I really liked her a lot. I also have a great affinity. Mike Lucas and I think after, I should say, watching the 6 episodes, I can't remember his name, but eyebrows guy, the government, or like the special ops guy, whatever his name was, with the seaweed eyebrows, played by Dave Mallow, was so funny. And I remember when I met Dave Mallow shortly after I moved to LA, I told him, Mike Lucas and I, we used to quote, "What about eyebrows?" all the goddamn times. Oh yeah, FLCL, yeah, that was a great show. And Kitsune Bami, I think her name was, the tan girl with the blonde hair. She had a really cute design. I liked her a lot. I feel like she didn't really get to do a whole lot in the show, but she had some fun kind of visual gags once in a while throughout those later episodes and stuff. Nina Mori actually, for being in the first episode that I saw, had a really cool little beginning, middle, and end within just that one episode, and she was fun. I don't think it's a big deal. Eats. That was an early memory of just like that clip being repeated, like that animation and that line being repeated like 3 times or whatever in that fucking dinner scene. And then favorite moments, of course the action scenes were, major highlights. I always remember, because, of course, Naota's dad, Kamon, I think his name was, he visually, I think, was the funniest. His like, just the drawings they did with like how insane and ridiculous he was at every moment. God almighty. For some reason, when I think of my dad as a cartoon character, I think of him, even though they're completely, and you know now, because if you've heard the Kirblogs that I did with Dad, they're completely different people. But for some reason, I think Kamon is now my new like quintessential animated dad character in like all of any cartoon ever, anime or otherwise. But yeah, even though the dad wasn't like necessarily one of my favorite characters, most scenes with him were very standout and hilarious to me. Like I mentioned, all the big fight scenes were great. The big final one with with Super Mega Ultra Conti as the space pirate king or whatever was badass. Also, I didn't even mention the music in the show was absolutely incredible. I know that it was the Pillows are more of a contemporary Japanese band, but they I don't know, their music strangely fit how strange the show was. Maybe that's because I don't know, like hard to analyze that exactly or dissect it, but all their songs are just fantastic on their own, of course, but in the context of the show, and of course, like little bastards, for kind of like the end of most episodes is now to reflect some whatever the fuck just happened to him and trying to process that was really cool. Those music tracks. There we go. Made for some very cool, memorable moments in each episode. It is really unique in that like all 6 of these little short stories like really do hold up. As like you could just see these as pieces on their own more or less, except for maybe the last episode because it's like kind of full circle of everything that's going on. But even that one was relatively self-contained. You could just get it if you saw that one first, maybe even. I don't know. And again, the fact that like the first episode I saw was the third one, and I didn't see the first 2 episodes until after I saw the ending, it kind of says a lot about it. And I was still able to like process enough of what was going on that I could get enjoyment out of it. But great stuff. Definitely want to go back and rewatch it. I don't know what the estimated time of arrival for the new season 2 and 3 coming out is going to be, but I definitely will go back and rewatch that show again. Maybe I'll even do it with Mike Lucas again, and just for old time's sake and shit. Speaking of Mike Lucas, our next and final Anime April Kirblog is going to be with Mike Lucas and Steve Yurko, as who I had on the Yu Yu Hakusho one from a couple weekends ago. And we'll be talking once again about One Piece, and that's going to be very exciting. And I don't know how long that episode is going to go. It may be the longest Kirblog ever, for all I fucking know. We'll see. That's going to wrap us up. So thanks for listening, as always. If you have seen Fooly Cooly and you have any particular favorite moments, characters, anything like that, the usual stuff I've been putting out there, or any stories you want to tell about when it was airing back on Adult Swim at the time, leave a comment below and tell me your thoughts and your stories and anything like that you would like to share. If you have not seen it, what is your exposure to it, and what is your understanding, if any at all, of Fooly Cooly and the madness that is it? Tell me about that. And sadly, Anime April is over. But if you have, or will be over as of this weekend, but I will be announcing very soon my next themed month for Kirblogs for May. And also, I'll be having a new cartoon coming out on Thursday of this week, so look forward to that. It's not related to anime at all, but I hope you enjoy it. It was a lot of fun. If you have general future Kirblog topic suggestion ideas, overall, leave a comment about that, and perhaps I will get to those maybe in June, or if they happen to fall in line with whatever the themed month, I won't say what it is, for May, maybe I'll hold on to those as well, who knows. I'll just give a hint that it mayhaps has something to do with some movies coming out in that month. You'll see what happens, but you can probably figure it out from there. Anyway, that's it. Thanks a lot, and I will catch you all later. Bye-bye.